The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Greetings and welcome. Today, we have another conversation with one of Caribbean leaders about CARICOM. As the conversation about Bermuda's pursuit of full membership with the organization heats up, more opinions are being shared and questions are being asked. Former leader St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Prime Minister, Mr. Ralph Gonsalves, stops by to share his thoughts on CARICOM and how the benefits far outweigh any cons. Stick with us for this live conversation with former Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves. We'll be back in a bit.
The story of us runs deep. We're like a tree. Our roots grow throughout the Caribbean.
When I think about Bermuda moving from an associate to full CARICOM membership, the first thing that comes to mind is alignment. Bermuda is globally recognized, but from a regional standpoint, we are pretty isolated.
If you think about it, we have a very entrepreneurial mindset within this country, but we only have a very small marketplace. Regionalism allows our entrepreneurs to expand their marketplace beyond our shores.
CARICOM, a market of 18 million people for small Bermudian businesses, means a small business can now become an international business.
It positions Bermudians not just as participants in the regional economy, but as architects of it.
We're talking about collaboration, distribution channels, we can test markets, we can expand in so many ways.
Our education, our foreign affairs, the intellectual capital combined with arts will be of huge benefit.
I'd like to send a very special message to my Bermudan brothers and sisters. This idea of coming together, we can share our strengths with each other to do functional cooperation, from disaster response to education to tourism to agriculture, you name it.
Being able to share information with people that live very similar lives to us. There's not too many other places in the world that have our island experience, but are bigger to teach us some things. And we can also teach them some things as well.
This effort to become a full member, Bermuda is actually leading the way for associate members and other overseas territories like the Turks and Caicos, the BVI, and others who are now interested in making this next step. We want to become full members because we need to be at the table when decisions are being made on behalf of the region that impacts us. We don't just want to be participants, but can't be decision makers.
The story of us.
All right, welcome. Once again, you're tuned in for the special segment of CARICOM Conversations. Can CARICOM benefit from, can CARICOM benefit Bermuda? Can Bermuda benefit from all that it has to offer as a full member? Right now, we have been an associate member since 2003. We've had conversations with the deputy leader in the Turks and Caicos Islands. We've had conversations with Rashida Godwin, as well as David Commission. Now we're going to have a conversation once again with the former Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mr. Ralph Gonsalves. Let's give him a warm welcome as we get to find out. Let's find out why he believes CARICOM full membership makes sense. Greetings, sir. How are you?
Very good to be with you, and all the best to the people of Bermuda and to you and your family.
Thank you, and likewise to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But I want to get right into it because for those who don't know, people may have seen you in the news, or just tell the audience a bit about your background and what you've done in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Well, I've been Prime Minister of my country since March 2001 until the end of November 2025. So I've been Prime Minister for almost 25 years. Mm-hmm. I'm the longest serving parliamentarian currently in the parliament. I'm the leader of the opposition. Mm-hmm. And before that, I had a life of teaching at the University of the West Indies, practicing law in the Caribbean. I didn't teach law, I taught political economy. Mm-hmm. That's basically Ralph. I grew up in a rural community in St. Vincent and educated in part in the city and across the world.
All right. We're talking CARICOM today.
Yes.
From a historical perspective, how has the community evolved, and why do you believe it remains relevant to the Caribbean today?
Oh, without CARICOM, with all its limitations, we would have been cast aside as irrelevancies in the Caribbean Sea. CARICOM gives us a voice. Solidarity is very important. And then there's the issue of trade and economic integration. And
I think we lost him a second, folks. Just give us a second. We may have lost the former prime minister. So give us a second. Hopefully.
Disaster preparedness and the like.
Yeah.
So
we lost you a bit just now, but you said disaster relief in particular. I want to stop on that.
Preparedness.
Preparedness.
I'm talking about a wide range of functional cooperation. In addition to the question of coordination of security, strengthening our voice in the international community, and economic integration and trade. As I outlined to my other brother from Bermuda, Christopher, when we spoke a couple of days ago, is that to be a full member of CARICOM doesn't mean that you have to be part of every single thing in CARICOM. You can. There's a variable geometry of integration. Bahamas, for instance, is in CARICOM, but Bahamas is not within the single market and economy. They consider that was not necessary for them to be involved in. Bermuda may well feel that is necessary for them to be involved in. So,
and that's been some of the concern in Bermuda with that. But as the former leader of a full CARICOM state for many years, speak to the benefits that St. Vincent and the Grenadines experienced through its membership that they wouldn't have had otherwise.
Well, I begin with the issue of our voice and negotiations with international financial institutions and our engagement with foreign governments. And we see the benefits quite clearly. Secondly, through the regional security system and the CARICOM Implementation Agency on Crime and Security, we have strengthened our security apparatus and make our people feel safer, and in fact are safer as a consequence of these regional instruments. In education and health, we couldn't get through COVID without CARICOM, the Caribbean Public Health Agency, CAFA. These are fundamental benefits. Our trade in goods and services, agricultural commodities, manufacturing commodities, financial services, range of various services, and our people move freely. Now, in the case.
Okay, I think we're having some internet challenges, so hopefully he'll be back in, folks. But stick with us.
Geometry of integration.
Okay. Internet cut out just now. Once again.
I noticed that.
No worries. Let's change gears, because CARICOM is so much more than an economic organization, as you've mentioned earlier, right?
Absolutely.
Speak to some of the key councils, committees, and programs that have had the greatest impact on member states and how they work together to address regional challenges.
Well, for persons in Bermuda to understand, CARICOM is an integration movement of independent states and territories. It's not a confederation. It is not a federation. There's an intergovernmental agreement where we have a treaty, the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, and we set out the areas for our cooperation in which we can participate as full members, or you can decline to participate in certain aspects, as in the case of the Bahamas. Then the heads of government is the major decision-making body, And you have a series of ministerial councils, including a very important one is one addressing the community as a whole in foreign affairs, one involving in trade and economic development, which involves tourism and all economic dimensions, one involving health and education and other forms of functional cooperation, one council of ministers dealing with citizen security and national security. And there is a very important institution called the Caribbean Court of Justice in its original jurisdiction, which addresses disputes within the Caribbean community between states and citizens and states, and corporations and states. So there's a juridical basis for our organization. It's not a seat off your pants arrangement. In fact, CARICOM, after the European Union, is the oldest and strongest form of regional cooperation that we have in the world.
That's what I find so interesting, though. I look, and no one's ever mentioned it, and you're the first one this show. But when I think of CARICOM, I think of something like the European Union. People, the UK, when they left the union through Brexit, there was campaigns either way. It seemed like those who were for Brexit felt like immigration was the issue. In Bermuda, it feels like although we need more people in Bermuda, people are opposing this due to the idea of free movement. As you've mentioned, Bahamas hasn't taken that on, but Bermuda's made it clear, should it pursue full membership, it intends to maintain its existing immigration policies. Setting aside, what other opportunities do you believe full membership could create for Bermuda?
Well, they can be involved in other aspects of the economic and trading arrangements, which would give opportunities to your business people, your young entrepreneurs, your small business people, and you'll have a wider market for your goods and services. Then there is I mentioned, you're out there in the Atlantic. You're subjected to all kinds of the vicissitudes of the weather, climate change. Well, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency is one of the finest such organizations existing in the world to deal with disaster management and emergency responses. Again, without an organization like that, we couldn't have dealt with our volcanic eruption and our Category 4 Hurricane Beryl in the manner in which we dealt with these natural disasters. There's culture. We have common education platforms and common examinations, which are all recognized throughout the world by the top universities in Europe, in North America, all over the world. And there are benefits from all of these things. And there's a sense of belonging to one another. Something which is, you can't put a value on it, You're part of a larger community, larger family. When you move and you travel, CARICOM is an institutional expression of our Caribbean civilization.
Indeed.
And Bermuda can benefit from that, and we can benefit from Bermuda in that regard. In the case of the French West Indies, which are integral part of France, nevertheless have gotten the permission from the French government to establish particular relations with us. Of course, they're part of France. They're not like you, separate though with British suzerainty. And the people of Martinique and Guadeloupe want also to have a sense of belonging to something which is Caribbean. It's a natural thing among peoples, and we have evolved through the same kinds of historical movements and systems. Some of them terrible, like the enslavement of African bodies and an indentureship of Madeirans and Indians and Chinese. And myself, a descendant of indentured servants. So that this belonging is very important. I can understand when we are in an island, there's a sense that island is a peculiar thing, a peculiar phenomenon. When you're in an island, you think the world revolves around you.
Yeah.
But when you look at the boundaries and you see the seawater, you know that there's a large world out there. So there's always this tension between the inward look and the outward gaze. That is the same tension which dealt with another, which affect when Britain wanted to move out of the single market, move out of the European Union. Sorry, so that I know in St. Vincent, there are people from time to time, they get frustrated about this or that. They say, man, CARICOM is a waste of time. But they will say that in a sense of frustration about this or that matter. We're always going to meet frustrations in life. But then they know, when they look out, and they know that we have to be at one family and engage with one another. In their own being, they settle that this is necessary and desirable, this integration movement in CARICOM and in other integration mechanisms. And I think that is part of the impulse which also drives people in Cayman and in British Virgin Islands, in Montserrat, in Bermuda. It's a natural thing.
Yeah. Audience, if you have any questions or comments for Mr. Gonzalez, you can send your questions and comments through. And you just spoke to it, really, the greatest strengths, are all about the United Bloc, right? And spoke about, cooperation and how regional cooperation has been strengthened with one voice, right, internationally, and how places like St. Vincent have benefited. But there's also this concern right now. Right now in Bermuda, there's a term, I don't know if they use it, they're internet trolls who share whatever's negative about a certain subject. And they'll be sharing stuff like what's happening in the US right now, where certain CARICOM nations are taking deportees from the US and saying, see, we're not sticking up. And there seems to be fighting amongst some of the CARICOM nations. They'll take the reports we're saying, oh, see, they're saying we shouldn't join CARICOM. There are always going to be naysayers regardless of what the topic is, right?
Well, the point, as I pointed out to you, CARICOM is not a unitary state. It's not a federation. It's not even a confederation. It is a community of independent sovereign states and other territories. And you still have, while you're cooperating, you still have your own right to do certain things, but obviously within the framework of the broad rules of the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, which is the foundation intergovernmental agreement, this treaty between all the member states. Now, there's some, it depends on the orientation of the government. When I was Prime Minister, when the Americans came to me about taking deportees, I said to them, we wouldn't take deportees. I said, it's not in your interest and it's not in my interest. Not in the interest of the United States of America, and it's not in the interest of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But the governments may see it differently. So that Bermuda doesn't have to worry about taking deportees, and Bermuda doesn't have to worry about taking what they may consider quote unquote undesirable persons. You can tell the Americans in this regard, go to hell. And similarly, you can do like the Bahamas, stay out of the what is called the quote unquote freedom of movement peoples. Yet you have in Bermuda a number of persons from the rest of the Caribbean and who making tremendous contribution, including people from my constituency, and I have family members who live and work in Bermuda. So it's not a matter of what persons must be fearful about. It is a question of enlarging what you have, deriving further benefits from these integration arrangements. And as I say, there's a menu of products which are available, and you do so within the context of a favorable geometry of integration. and you look and to see what is best for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I would think at the base of it that we need to come together. Europe comes together.
Yeah.
I mean, France is 68 million people. Britain is about a similar number, 70 million people. Germany, all these countries, 27 countries in the European Union, speaking different languages,
Mm-hmm.
have come together, and many of them have had histories of war and conflict. I don't see why we in the rest of the Caribbean and Bermuda can't go beyond the current arrangements which we have and do something sensibly, work out something sensibly with each other, and take into consideration the interests of the people of Bermuda. Nobody forcing anything.
You answered a lot of questions just now with that, just that, and I'll tell you why. Because I think you're the first person to approach it by comparing it to the European Union. And one of the things that some of the naysayers in Bermuda who are anti-CARICOM have said is, well, why does Bermuda have to pay more? And they've spoken to the fact that our economy is different. And when you bring up Europe, the economies are very different, right? They speak completely different languages. Can you speak to that? Because that is a concern that Bermuda is paying more, and that our economy is very different from those.
Well, there is a everybody paid dues to belong to a club, and you pay dues on the basis of the economic arrangements which are available. The extent of your involvement, and the dues. There are rules which are established for them. But I'll say to the naysayers who raise a question like that, I answer them this way: you have to be careful that you don't know the price, that you always emphasize the price of something, and you miss the value of that very thing. You have things have prices and they have values, and if you only are concerned about prices, you don't understand value.
Yeah, indeed. With Bermuda is a British territory, and British overseas territories face many of the same economic, environmental, and social challenges as independent Caribbean nations.
Clearly.
Why do you believe stronger collaboration between the two is important for the future of the region?
Well, any further amalgamation or addition to CARICOM will strengthen us. And Bermuda is a country which is a democracy. It is very disciplined. It has had a good set of structure.
All right, I think we have a challenge, folks. Do not go anywhere. I'm sure he'll be back. Are you back?
Yes, and the lives of living on Bermudans, and to widen a scope for Bermudans. I am. It is something which I've watched over the many decades of my involvement in public life. I've been a political activist for almost 60 years. I'm going to be 80 years in August, so I'm an old man. But because of my experience, I have a lot of wisdom, and I've seen many things, and I can see the value of CARICOM and Bermuda working together for both sides. And the world is becoming more uncertain and more complicated, and you have to have buffers. You have to have friends. You have to have brothers and sisters together, and for the good times and for the bad times.
Indeed. What would you say to people in Bermuda who say, we have the UK, we're a British overseas territory, we don't need CARICOM?
Well, you know, the British are concerned primarily about themselves. And I don't blame them for being concerned primarily about themselves. And Bermuda is of great value to Britain by having a relationship with CARICOM, a stronger relationship, a deeper relationship. Doesn't mean that you abandon your relationship with Britain. You can have good relations with Britain still.
Mm.
Both things are not incompatible. We in St. Vincent and Grenadines, an independent country, we have very good relations with Britain, and we work together well on many things, on most things. And where we disagree respectfully, as mature people. And you have countries in CARICOM which have the British monarch as the sovereign, and some which don't. And you have in CARICOM a country like Haiti, which speaks French. It came from French colonialism, and Suriname, which came from Dutch colonialism. But we consider those matters to strengthen us rather than to weaken us. Because you see, you have to look at integration not in a mechanistic way, but as an organic whole, where the sum of the whole is more than the sum of individual parts. That there's something which comes to the countries which are part of an integration movement, which bring benefits beyond the simple summation of the individual parts. It's an organic process. It's like a body with different functioning parts, but it's the whole which comes together, which provides additional value, additional benefits.
Where would you advise people to seek information to learn? You have people on the fence. Not everyone who is against it, but people on the fence. Where would you say they should go? Because I've seen videos from Guyana and different countries and say, man, you know, maybe it could improve the relationship with them as far as this or this. And what were some resources that you would say, you know what, if you want to learn the facts about why full CARICOM
itself has a very good website. There's a lot of writings on matters of regional integration. I myself launched a book on Caribbean regional integration in September last year on the margins of the United Nations. Other CARICOM leaders were present when I launched this book. And inside of the book, I talk about real challenges which we face within CARICOM and the way in which we have to set about to resolving them. You don't have to dismember something. Look, the British went about it and they withdrew from the European Union. Now they're having buyer's remorse. 10 years down the road, the majority of British people, according to the polls, wish if they didn't get out of the European Union. But there were challenges while they were in the European Union, but you have to work through them. And if you're in a relationship, any relationship, you're gonna have dissonances, you're gonna have difficulties. That's the nature of life and living. You sort them out, and you move on with greater hope and in quest for a better life. That's what we are about. That's fundamentally that's a fundamental thing in all human beings. Unless you're so proud and arrogant to think that you have no limitations or weaknesses and you don't need to come together with others to bolster you, that you're so alone by yourself that you can survive. Well, the greatest power in the world today is the United States of America. We see how President Trump has been trashing America's allies. And what has that gotten in them? We got to work together and we got to live together. In the case of we all are in our Caribbean civilization, where we, through the fever of history, we have evolved in a particular manner. Those experiences ought reasonably to be translated into shared expressions, not just shared experiences. And those expressions have to be of an institutional kind to have sustainability. Thus, CARICOM, or the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, to which also the British Virgin Islands and Anguilla and Montserrat belong, and doing quite well in that relationship.
Indeed. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate what you've shared today. I hope the audience has digested what you said. Facts are important, right? People have complained that the promotion or the conversations around CARICOM in Bermuda have been, emotions, based on emotions. But I feel like the response against it has been emotional as well. I believe it's so important for both sides to discuss facts and share facts. And the facts are that, at least from what's said, is we are okay being a British overseas territory, but we're not okay partnering with countries or islands similar, jurisdictions similar to us in both size and demographic. That's what seems to be showing, rearing its ugly head here.
And also, this phenomenon I mentioned to you, my brother Jamel, about islandness. It's a peculiar phenomenon. When you're in an island, you think you're in the center of the universe. You're surrounded by seawater, and okay, you have your links overseas, but you look. There's an inward gaze, or you look inside. But the seawater is there, and there's a world beyond it.
Yeah.
The inward look has to be accompanied by an outward gaze. And every country, every territory has to look outwards and build the relations so that you can work in the most efficacious ways with your external environment to further uplift your people. Bermuda has done very well. But this doesn't mean that you, in times of difficulties and setbacks, that you're not going to need a wide range of friends. And it doesn't mean that even though you've done well, you can't do better. And in fact, there's always a quest in human beings to do better and to look for additional sets of relations. You'd have to abandon your relation with Britain. St. Vincent and Grenadines, we have a good relationship with Britain. I just returned from Britain. I met a lot of British parliamentarians, and we agree on many, many things. In fact, I went there because we were working on the repair campaign, the reparations for natives, genocide, and enslavement of African bodies. That's why a mature conversation, also a subject like that, is required. Even King Charles, when he was Prince Charles, said at Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting that, look, this is a conversation whose time has come. We have to talk about it maturely, sensibly. That's how we do things as civilized beings. And we can't be governed by fears. Can't be. We have to look at how we relate and what benefits we can get through greater cooperation.
Indeed. Thank you so much for this conversation.
I appreciate you, Jamal.
No problem. We'll be in touch. Have a wonderful day, sir.
God bless you. Thank you.
Likewise. All right, folks. That was Ralph Gonsalves, the former Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, current opposition leader. We're going to take a final break. After this break, we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts on this entire series of CARICOM conversations. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere. If you are streaming with us online, give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues.
The story of Bermuda is a powerful Caribbean story.
For when Bermuda moves from the sidelines, I would hope that Bermuda would see it as a renaissance, in fact. And I say a renaissance because it would be moving back through our history.
It's a lot of linkages. I mean, for instance, our Bermuda folks have been given to events such as Carafasta, when we're talking about Carifta, our sports, cricket, all sorts of linkages that have been ongoing for a while.
Caribbean music and culture has influenced every single genre, every single fashion style. Like, it's fully involved, and we are part of that, actually. It tells a tale of us recognizing that together we are better, we are stronger. So we build a stronger Caribbean, a common voice to take on the realities, the challenges of today's modern world.
When I think about what has shaped Bermuda and the relevance of CARICOM, it's so very easy when I look at the culture, music, cuisine, when I look at the lifestyle. Many Bermudians can trace first generation, second, third generation to their Caribbean roots.
Well, the story of Bermuda as it relates to us in St. Kitts, I would sum it up as a family.
Allow me a few minutes off camera and I'll find them Tegans in Bermuda for you.
The story of us.
The story of us.
The story of us.
The story of us.
Alrighty, folks. Thank you for rocking with us. I've enjoyed each and every conversation we've had in this series of CARICOM conversations. I've learned a lot. What I will say to people is that, pursue facts on your own, make your own decisions. This is an emotional topic. It's a topic that involves making some people feel uncomfortable. We've seen companies for years develop relationships throughout the region. We've seen people develop relationships throughout the region. I don't believe that joining another alliance should impact current relationships unless the relationship that it could impact sees that alliance as a threat. I want us as a country to really do more research on our own as individuals and collectively. This goes beyond having conversations among friends and family who agree with us and support our narratives. I think most people are afraid of what's on the other side. And we can't allow fear to supersede facts. I don't know what will happen, what the result will be. Some people are calling for a referendum. Every time you look on the news, social media, there's something about why we shouldn't join. And some of the questions and comments are fair. But I would encourage Bermudians to do more work for themselves. Find out what could be instead of always looking at what you don't want because of what may happen that may be bad. I've enjoyed this, as I mentioned. I hope you all have too. Go back and watch some of the conversations. You may have missed something. It's like watching a movie. And you watch it again and you realize, oh, I didn't see that last time. Treat CARICOM conversations like that. Go back and watch. And if you have questions, ask them. Write to the ministry. Feel free to reach out to any of the individuals who are a part of these CARICOM conversations. But don't let fear hold you back from the unknown. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you to the Ministry of Home Affairs for allowing us to have these most important community conversations. See you later.